Good morning. Welcome to the CAHP and CMFNH Mid-Year Meeting Updates webinar. I'm Parul Gulati. I'm the Plan Review Manager for California Advanced Homes program. Neil Perry, our presenter today, is on our technical review team for California Residential New Construction Programs and works primarily on CAHP and CMFNH. I would like to thank everyone who took the time out today to attend this webinar. Just some housekeeping before we begin. If you haven't used GoToWebinar before, we have everyone muted except for the presenters. If you'd like to ask us a question, please feel free to type it into the questions box of your GoToWebinar pop-up. This can be done at any time during the presentation, and I will be reading them out loud during designated breaks. We will be recording this presentation and posting it to our website for everyone to reference at a later time, or to share it with coworkers who may not have been able to attend today. The California Advanced Home Program, also known as CAHP, and California Multifamily New Homes Program, which is CMFNH, are PG&E sponsored ratepayer funded programs. My colleagues and I work for TRC Energy Services, and we implement the CAHP and CMFNH programs on behalf of PG&E. Any inquiries or correspondence with the program will be with us, but PG&E is the source of the incentives and the vision behind the program. So just a brief overview about the CAHP program to begin with. CAHP is the single-family new construction program that offers incentives to builders for building more efficient and energy-conscious homes. TRC also implements a multifamily program with the same goals, which we will be discussing about in subsequent slides, known as the CMFNH program. These two programs are developed to help participants prepare for code changes and to strive for zero net energy. They're funded under the auspices of the California Public Utilities Commissions, or the CPUC. The requirements for California Advanced Home Program are that the home must be permitted to 2016 Title 24 standards, should receive PG&E service, either gas or electric, or both. Should be new construction, can be single family, duplex, or townhome, and should meet energy performance requirements laid out in the program. The energy consultants should hold a 2016 residential certified energy analyst, the CEA certification, to participate in the program. Moving on to the California Multifamily New Homes program, which is a public service program which offers cash incentives and energy design assistance as part of the services. The program goals are to facilitate energy efficient design in new construction multifamily housing. The programs are again developed to help participants prepare for the code changes and to strive for zero net energy. And we assist builders in reaching these goals through design assistance as well. The program requirements are that the project should be permitted to the 2016 Title 24 standards, must receive PG&E service, gas or electric, meet the whole building energy performance requirements set forth by the program, should be multifamily new construction, and must have 3 or more attached units. For energy consultants to participate in the program, they should hold a 2016 CEA certification. Now, before I pass it on to our presenter, Neil, we would like to launch a quick poll to see who our audience is today. So I am an energy consultant, a HERS rater, a builder, developer, an architect, or a utility representative. Let's give our audience another a few more seconds to vote. Okay, so looks like most of our participants are energy consultants. 80% of our audience are energy consultants, 13% are HERS raters, and 7% architects. Over to you, Neil.
So on the agenda today, we have three primary topics we'd like to bring to your attention about the CAHP and CMFNH programs. First, we'll be going over some modeling software updates regarding the baseline fuel type for appliances. Second, we are adding 2 additional kickers. If you aren't aware what kickers are, we'll be going over those later in the presentation. And lastly, we'll be discussing balanced indoor air quality, which is related to one of the new kickers, and as well as the benefits of heat recovery ventilation systems in California. So first, modeling software updates. We will go over general program eligibility for CAHP and CMFNH programs in case you are not familiar with them. Following the updates to the modeling software rule sets, and last, how these updates will potentially affect eligibility and incentive amounts. So the CAHP and CMFNH program both use Delta EDR to determine program eligibility. Delta EDR is the difference between the standard and proposed efficiency, which we'll explain a little more in detail later. And in addition to this, participants can take point kickers to raise the Delta EDR, and a Delta EDR of 3.0 or higher, it will gain you entry into the program. And there are also incentives based on that value. So there's a difference between compliance percentage, which is the percentage above Title 24 baseline design, and EDR. The main difference is while compliance calculations only include regulated loads, which you can see there, space heating, cooling, IAQ, and water heating. EDR also includes unregulated loads, such as lighting appliances, as well as plug loads. So a little more about EDR. There are 5 different measures of the energy design rating. The standard design is EDR if the project were to use the prescriptive path, basically a baseline EDR if the house was designed and built to code. Secondly, the proposed efficiency. This is the EDR using performance trade-offs without considering EV, basically how your project was designed. Third, EDR value of proposed PV and battery, as the name suggests, is EDR of just the PV system. Final proposed, which is basically 2 plus 3, the EDR of the home taking into account the PV system. And last, the value we use to determine program eligibility, Delta EDR, as well as base incentive level, is the difference between standard efficiency and proposed efficiency EDR. So in addition to the Delta EDR, you can also receive kicker points, which are awarded through, you'll see later, various measures you could install that will up your Delta EDR, and the maximum amount of kicker points you can receive is 2. So moving on. So modeling software updates. There's a recent software rule set update for appliances that can improve incentive or put your project to be eligible for the CAHP and CMFNH program. And this is now applicable for CBEC Res 2016 3.0 later, as well as Energy Pro 7.2. So this update has to do with fuel sources for appliances, and the software can now accept a direct comparison between fuel types for electric and gas for stovetops, as well as clothes dryers. Here you can see a view in CBEC Res of what this will look like. So the fuel selection for the proposed clothes dryer and cooking appliances now impacts fuel selection in the standard model. For previous versions, the baseline was assumed to be gas. However, it'll now be determined by your selection. Although compliance percentages will not change, as compliance percentages only include regulated loads, the EDR could potentially change, which can affect program eligibility and incentives. And again, this is applicable to the software types CBEC 3.0 and later, as well as Energy Pro 7.2. Next, we'll go over an example of how this fuel selection could impact your EDR. So this first scenario, gas appliances are only modeled. So this is the existing gas baseline. As you can see, there's only a change of 0.1 between version CBEC 2.1 and 3.0, which is relatively minimal. Again, this is with gas. However, scenario 2, where electric appliances are modeled, you can see that the EDR changed significantly. So this could push your project from not being eligible to being eligible for either program, in addition to potentially raising your incentive amounts. So we encourage projects that have electric dryers or cooking that previously did not qualify to rerun their models to determine current eligibility. And if you have any questions related to this, feel free to reach us at that email listed. And this PowerPoint will be sent out after the presentation for your reference. So any questions up to now? Let's see.
We don't have any questions so far, Neil. I think we can continue with the presentation.
Okay. Moving on, second update. Program updates for additional kickers. There are 2 additional kickers going to be added to the CAHP and CMFNH program. So we'll go over the types of program kickers, the existing ones that are currently incentivized, as well as these 2 new additions. So there are 4 different types of program kickers. EDR Performance-embedded Kickers, which we award outside of the software to give builders credit for measures that cannot be modeled, such as a home energy management system or LED lighting. The second are the bonus cash kickers. These are also non-modeled measures that do not lead to direct savings, but they're generally considered best practices, and we will award cash bonuses for projects that take advantage of these measures, such as the Zero Energy Ready Home from Department of Energy. Third are 2019 code kickers, and as the name suggests, cash bonuses for code and code ready homes for 2019 code. And lastly, hybrid kickers, which we consider to be very important. So these are measures that are modeled, so you receive an EDR point benefit for implementing them, but we additionally award cash bonuses to emphasize the importance of these measures. And these are often envelope measures, such as high performance attics or walls. So these are getting into the existing kickers. We currently award 0.5 points and 1 point EDR credit for 100% LED lighting in the single family and low-rise multifamily sectors, as well as for high-rise $15 per unit. And this must meet the state requirements of JA8 2016. Home energy management system, kind of see what that is there. But again, 0.5 points for inland and 1 point for coastal. And we'll go over that later and discuss why there is a point difference for those. And lastly, Energy Star Tier 2 appliances. In order to be eligible, all appliances must be Energy Star Tier 2. At a minimum, you must install a refrigerator, dishwasher, as well as bathroom fan at the time of occupancy. So here you can see the difference between the coastal versus inland climate zones in California. And this is the same divide for multifamily as single family. And the reason that we award different EDR point kickers for different climate zones, is that inland homes generally use more heat and cooling use more heat and cooling power during extreme conditions in winter and summer. So they have smaller EDR kickers because these savings are easier to achieve, as opposed to coastal homes where they may have to put in a little more effort to achieve the same savings. So second category, cash bonus kickers. We have a few here. Balanced IAQ. This is part of the DOE's Zero Energy Ready program, so you can only receive one of those two first kickers. So there's that. And then second, DOE Zero Energy Ready Home. You can look up the qualifications for that online if you're so interested. Energy Star laundry facilities are also incentivized in addition to rainwater heat recovery, and you must install approved heat recovery devices. And we will incentivize that up to 10 devices or for a total of $2,000 per project. 2019 kickers are pretty self-explanatory. Code Ready Home, Delta EDR 3.0 or greater is eligible for program entry, and the annual site kilowatt hours must be equal to 0 with a 3 kilowatt system PV modeled. And second, 2019 code, if the annual site kilowatt hours is less than 0 with PV, then it'll be considered eligible. However, the home must still be eligible for the program, again, Delta EDR 3.0 or greater, without PV savings accounted for. So next up, the hybrid kickers. These are, again, important to us because they'll help builders reach 2019 code, which will be much more stringent, and builders and developers will have to start using these practices just to meet code. So first, whole house fans, high performance attics, and high performance walls all must be installed in accordance with the prescriptive requirements of 2016 Title 24 Part 6. And lastly, the last existing hybrid kicker we have is high performance fenestration. There's no solar heat gain requirement for this, although the windows still must meet Title 24 base requirements. And yeah, the other consideration is that a U factor of less than 0.24 is necessary. And just to be clear, this does not include skylights, doors, or sliding glass doors, but just windows. So next up, the two hybrid kicker additions are quality insulation installation, which is applicable for single family and low-rise multifamily buildings through CAHP and CMFNH respectively. You can see the incentive amounts here, $400 per lot for single family and $45 per unit for low-rise multifamily. And the next hybrid kicker we will be adding is reduced building air leakage, and this will also require a HERS verification in accordance with Title 24 Part 6, and that is just for single family as of now. And we'll go over the requirements and incentive values later. That's why there's a range for incentives on that one. So quality insulation installation is a procedure for verifying that insulation is properly installed to maximize the thermal benefit. This applies generally to envelope attributes of a house, so floors, walls, roofs, and ceilings. This will trigger HERS verification, and this is manifested in the software such that models without QII checked will have adjusted, i.e. lower insulation values to reflect the poor insulation quality. And to be clear, quality installation isn't above what should normally be installed or how insulation should normally be installed, but the idea is that it's checked via a HERS verification. And this will result in a Delta EDR as well as a compliance percentage improvement because it affects regulated space heating and cooling loads as well as unregulated loads. And again, you can see the incentives that we're offering for this kicker, $400 per lot via CAHP and $45 per low-rise multifamily unit only through CMFNH. Reduced building air leakage. So lower building air leakage tends to mean tighter envelopes, so fewer air changes per hour with the outside to allow an opportunity for greater comfort. And this is tested through a blower door test. It's for verifying air leakage at a CFM at a 50 pascal pressure difference, also known as CFM 50. And generally, all windows and doors are closed, and the building is pressurized via a fan in a doorway, as you can see in the picture there. And the standard building air leakage values under Title 24 for single family and townhomes is 5, but for multifamily buildings, 7. So here's the breakdown of incentives for this kicker. You can see 1 through 4, as the building gets tighter and you reduce building air leakage, we increase incentives. And some common materials used for this, for air sealing, are 3/8" plywood, polystyrene, foil-backed urethane foam, as well as certain types of roofing membranes. It's important to realize that with lower building air leakage, mechanical ventilation becomes increasingly important because of the buildup of contaminants and other sort of pollutants inside the home.
Hey Neil, we just received a question asking why do we not have reduced building air leakage kicker available for low-rise multifamily? I can actually answer that. So due to the lack of an applicable measurement standard in the energy modeling software, ACH 50 is fixed at 7 for all multifamily projects, and there isn't a way to change that, so you're not able to take credit for it in the energy modeling software, which is why we're not able to incentivize that.
All right, thanks for clearing that up.
Okay.
So next, here's a summary of the kickers that we have gone over today. This will be available later for your review in case you're interested. So incentive amounts, EDR point kickers, as well as the calculation methodology. Any questions? I don't see any as of now. Feel free to raise your hand or type anything in the question box in case anything comes to mind.
We just got another one. Can you repeat what changed in the software baseline that is affecting the EDR scores?
All right, I can go back to that. Oh, where'd it go? So now we'll be able to choose what fuel type is used for clothes dryers as well as cooking appliances. Originally, it was only a gas baseline and it was assumed that these would be gas, but now it can be more representative of reality in case electric clothes dryers or appliances are being used. So it's the update. And again, that applies to CBEC 3.0 and Energy Pro 7.2 and later. So skip back.
Thank you, Neil.
So third topic of conversation is Balanced IAQ, and this is related to reduce building air leakage. So we'll go over why there's a need for mechanical ventilation, the various types of ventilation systems available, and the benefits of HRVs and ERVs. So contaminants and pollutants such as formaldehyde and volatile organic compounds can often build up in houses that have a tighter shell. And because some occupants generally don't open their windows regularly enough to provide the adequate ventilation, mechanical ventilation can be required. Airtight and well-insulated homes need outside air to provide healthy, comfortable interiors to occupants. And common building materials such as cleaning supplies, furniture, and other products release contaminants and pollutants, the release of which is highest right after installation and continue for days, weeks, or even years after they're installed, and often can be hazardous to occupant health particularly if the ventilation isn't up to standard. And again, mechanical ventilation is in fact compulsory through Title 24, Part 6. So there are three types of ventilation systems: exhaust, supply, and balanced, and we'll go over those and how they work and some advantages and disadvantages. So exhaust-only ventilation is usually achieved by the ceiling-mounted bath fan or remote-mounted inline, or sometimes an exterior-mounted fan. So this works by depressurizing the building by drawing air out through the fan, and then makeup air is drawn in through infiltration. And this can work well in cold climates. However, it can also cause humid air to be drawn into the wall cavities through the infiltration, which can sometimes cause issues with mold or other things getting in there and not being able to be released. Second, supply-only ventilation. As the name suggests, air is pushed into the house through a fan, so it works by pressurizing the building. And this is generally achieved through a dedicated supply fan or central forced air, and air escapes through exfiltration. So this is preferable to exhaust-only ventilation because it allows better control, minimizes the outdoor pollutants as you can filter the air before it comes into the house. In addition, another benefit is it can prevent backdrafting from combustion systems inside the home. Disadvantage, however, it can increase heating and cooling costs in extreme seasons when you draw in large amounts of very cool or very hot air. So that can up your energy bill and energy use. The third type is a balanced system, as the name suggests. This combines both exhaust and supply fans. And if the fans both have the same airflow, then the system is considered to be balanced and the house will have a neutral pressure. This is preferable to the rest because it allows for the most control over the ventilation in your house, and as well, it can help reduce contaminants inside the home, buildup of CO2 or pollutants from products that you install or cleaning products that you use in your home. Disadvantage, this can be the most costly type of equipment to use because it's the largest system type, but you have the greatest control, so it's preferable. So the required ventilation rate, this is the fan method. There's a calculation through ASHRAE 62.2 that one can use to calculate the required ventilation rate, as you can see here. It's based on the number of occupants and the conditioned floor area of the building of interest. Next, there are two special types of balanced ventilation systems called HRVs and ERVs that allow the transfer of heat between supply and exhaust air streams, essentially preheating in winter and pre-cooling in summer, so reduce the heating or cooling load. And air is typically delivered to living room, bedrooms, and removed from the rooms less used, such as bathrooms, laundry rooms, as well as kitchens. ERVs are typically not used in California because of the low humidity levels, so they're generally not necessary. And so HRV is a balanced mechanical ventilation system with equal amounts of supply and exhaust that transfer heat between two streams. And the difference between that and an ERV is that the ERV also allows for moisture as well as latent heat transfer between the two air streams. HRVs generally perform the best under extreme conditions, which is a major plus, unlike other condensation control devices and heating and cooling systems. So they can capture and recycle heat from any system used, whether it be gas wall furnace or central HVAC system or what have you. In addition, another benefit is that it can remove pollutants from inside while minimizing the heating and cooling load. Another point of interest, there's recovery efficiency can achieve 70% with an extremely efficient HRV, which results to considerable energy savings. So.
We have another question about HRV. Have you seen any projects modeling, and what kind of compliance benefit have you been seeing for HRV in projects? I can actually answer that one. In the few projects that we've received with HRVs modeled in different climate zones, I think I would say the range has been around 8 to 12%, sometimes up to 15%. In terms of the heating and cooling loads getting reduced, which is quite significant and could help with program eligibility for both CAHP as well as CMFNH, low-rise buildings only. Yeah.
Thanks for that, Prul. So what to expect in the next few months here? There'll be some more webinars as well as the launch of the Advanced Energy Rebuild program for those North Bay projects that were destroyed in the fire starting on August 14th. CAHP and CMFNH joint webinar will have 2019 code updates as well as solar requirement, September 11th. And the Roseville Advanced Home Program, also known as RAP launch, will occur on September 18th from 1 to 2 p.m.
Also, I do want to mention here that if there are any old projects, I want to reiterate that if they didn't qualify in the older versions of the software, any versions before 2016.3.0 for CBEC Res and 7.2 for Energy Pro, please feel free to reach out to our team at rnc@trcsolutions.com, and we'd be happy to assist you with those projects and see if we can provide some design assistance as well to help with the project eligibility and the incentives. Let's wait a couple minutes for any questions. I'm not seeing any more right now. Okay, if you have any follow-up questions, please send them in on our email listed here at rnc@trcsolutions.com, or if you have and other information about the programs is available on the CAHP pg&e website and the CMFNH website listed here. You can also contact our presenter, Neil Perry, directly if you have any questions regarding the presentation. And let us know if we can assist with any projects. And if there aren't any further questions, thank you so much for joining. I think we can wrap up early in that case.
Thank you everyone for joining us today to go over the new program updates as well as kickers offered through CAHP and CMFNH.
We hope to see more projects coming in. Thank you.